Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home. Welcome everybody to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive, and I'm so excited. I have a super cool guest talking about a super cool topic. So standing in your power, how important is that for us, huh? Hey, if you're here at the Heal Your Hunger Show for the first time, welcome. We're so glad you found us. You are home, sister. You're home. If you are so tired of the weight loss struggle, you're tired of the roller coaster ride with weight, yo-yo dieting, being good and then blowing it and then hating yourself and then trying to get back on track. We've all done it. Okay. So you are in the right place. We know the struggle is real. And we also know you don't have to diet anymore. Okay. That's the good news. Heal Your Hunger is all about addressing and healing the underlying causes of emotional eating. So if emotional eating is a new idea for you, you can actually take a quiz on my website. It's a emotional eating quiz. You can find out if you're an emotional eater, what that's about, or if you're a food addict, okay? Because you might be that too. So take the quiz and find out, get a personalized score, okay? And then you'll have a better sense and you'll be part of our community. You'll start learning as we go. But also we do this show live in the Secret Sauce group on Facebook. So if you're not in the Secret Sauce group, join us there. Just go to Facebook and type in the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. We'd love to see you there. And yeah, we're here for you. We're here for you. We're here to support you. We're here to walk you through healing, a healing journey, actually. And this was my story. I struggled with food and weight for years. I was a binge eater. It got so bad that I was basically almost giving up hope. I almost gave up hope. I almost thought there's no hope for me. But that's, I got to that hopeless place because I was dieting. So thank God there's hope. I found hope, but it was totally by getting off the diet track and addressing and healing the underlying causes of emotional eating. And that's what I talk about here on the show. So guess what? You're in the right place. You're going to learn a lot of cool things. This conversation today is so important. Let me tell you about my guest. So Dr. Sharon Melnick is a leading authority on women's leadership, power, and resilience. And she's coached and trained 40,000 professionals at over 50 Fortune 500 companies and numerous startups and women-led companies. So she has a new book out. We're going to talk about that. And she has some amazing examples of how you can regain your power right now in your work life and personal life. So we talk here in the book, in the show, about her book, which is called In Your Power: React Less, Regain Control, and Raise Others. And it's a cool book. And I think all of us women need to read it so we can be the people we're meant to be, the women we're meant to be, and have the power we're meant to have and stop being marginalized. So you're going to love the talk and you're going to love Sharon. Okay, on with the show. Sharon, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, I'm so delighted to be with you, Tricia.
Yeah, this is awesome. And we were talking ahead of hitting the record button about standing in our power and how emotional eaters aren't so good at that, and this is the journey. The journey is not about getting control of food, because honestly, our eating habits are the result of our living habits. And if we're giving away our power time and time again, when we're shrinking and not stepping up, when we're afraid to use our voices, when we're afraid to be who we really are, we are giving our power away and giving it to other people, stronger voices, people who stand up with confidence. And we just watch our lives, right, roll on by, wishing things could be better, wishing we could be recognized and seen. But hey, it starts from within. So that's why I wanted Sharon to come and talk about this topic. So I'm so happy you're here, and thank you for the work you do. This is so important for women.
Oh my gosh, we're so aligned. And just from what you're saying, like wishing is not our most powerful energy. right? And, we have so much more agency and so much more control than that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But if we don't exercise it, we spend all our time, like, I love the energy comment because it's an energy suck to be hating on ourselves and then wishing we were different. I mean, I used to, honestly, Sharon, I used to spend time calling myself spineless. Like, that was my word for myself. I'm like, you're so spineless, because I'd want to say something and then I just got my tongue. Like, I wouldn't say it because I'd be so self-critical, like you don't know really if that's true, or what if it, somebody ridicules you. It's always fear of what people are going to think, and then I don't do it. And then I beat myself up. So, if you're here and you're jiving with what we're saying, please put a comment in the chat. Let us know. This is a conversation that we're having here with Sharon. So thank you so much for helping us stop this, because we're wasting our lives.
Stop the madness. That's so true. And, even just that word spineless, I mean, every thought has an energetic consequence. Right. So, and that is one that has a really huge reverb.
Yeah. Not so self-affirming, is it?
Yeah. And, I mean, we've all been there, right. And are there, or, face that challenge, on a daily basis. And one of the things that actually, started my kind of awareness of how I was giving my power away is, when I was early in my career, I went to a concert down in Washington, D.C. And as the stands were filling, I saw a few people and over to my left, they were the only ones there. And there was someone who I recognized. It was Tipper Gore, who was wife of the then vice president, Al Gore. So without thinking it, I went right over to her. I stuck out my hand and I said, "Hi, I'm Dr. Sharon Melnick. I do psychology research at Harvard Medical School. And I help, women who have been through difficult experiences sort of have confidence, resilience, so that, they can live their lives as effective as adults and parents." And she, we talked for a little while, and at a certain point, she turns to her chief of staff and she's like, "Melissa, would you bring Dr. Melnick down to the White House so that she could share the policy implications of her work? I mean, I do all this work with families and domestic violence and people who are having difficult experiences. So I go back home, I write up a little something, I send it off. And a few weeks later, I'm lacing up my sneakers to go for a run, and the phone rings with a 202 exchange, which we all know that's the government, the Washington, D.C. And it's Melissa, and we have this chat, and she's telling me about all these millions of people who are affected by Tipper's programs. And then she pops the question and she says, "Would you come down to the White House to share the policy implications of your research?" So of course, what do I say?
No, I'm busy.
Of course I say, no, yeah, right. I don't really know enough. And why? Because I thought of the people who were going to be around that table.
Wait, are you saying you said no?
I said no.
No, I thought I was kidding. I didn't know you actually said no.
I declined an invite to the White House because I thought that I wasn't smart enough and I didn't know enough.
OMG. Oh my gosh. Wow. And here you are doing all this research. Isn't that crazy?
Well, so I know from giving my power away, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
I don't think there's a woman listening who can't relate to that moment of total self-doubt. It's awful. And it's so self-sabotaging.
Totally. And Tipper, if you're listening right now, then let's, have a get together again. Although it was funny, actually 15 years later, I did get a chance to actually present there, but that's not the point. The point is that you can get back in your power. That's the point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, of that story.
That's amazing. Wow. Well, thanks for sharing that, because that's a little ouchy that I think we can all relate to. Maybe I'm not on that scale. But yeah, we've all done it. We've all shrunk in that moment when we wanted to step into our power. So,
and I think it's important what you're saying there, actually, because when we're kicked out of our power, you know what I mean, that we get into a mental swirl, right?
Yes.
And, and then just like you're saying, the thoughts are kind of going around and you're spinning whether I should stay or go, whether it's the work or the relationship. And what you just said is really important, because we show up as a diminished version of ourselves. Yes. And it's not who we want to be. And because we want to be the bigger person in a conflict, we want to be a role model. And so like, let that be a motivation. And, one of the things that I want us to be talking about here is you have more power than you think. You have so much power. We're here to remind you of what that is. Yeah. And that you, and I think one of the things that, we think about is like when you were calling yourself spineless, you're like, you shouldn't be that. And you were all connected to like your story of like, who you had been and who you could be, me too, right? I was there too. And I think one thing that can help us is if we don't focus on kind of like the story that we're telling ourselves, but instead really decide like, what's the outcome that you want in the situation? Like start by setting the destination and then ask the question, who do you need to show up as in order to create that outcome? So you're really focusing more on the intention of who you want to be and then all the skills, right, that, we teach together about becoming that person, because you don't have to ever have been that person in the past in order to set an intention. And really, you can just ask yourself the question, the person I want to be would what? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then like, you don't have to focus on 10 things that you beat up about yourself. You can just cultivate this one thing of being in your power, setting that intention of who you want to be.
Amen. I love that. So beautiful and so true. And that's really powerful to set an intention, right? It's like if we don't get conscious of who we want to be, we'll unconsciously default to who we've been. Right?
So true. And we can make this look, we have a deep toolkit, both of us that we can share, but you can get started with this absolutely in the moment. Like, so any of you who were, if you're watching us on your phone or on the computer, like you could just write down 3 words that describe who you want to be in that moment. So whether you're a leader who can't get her direct report to like live up to her expectation, whether you're a talented woman who can't get her manager to, her manager's overlooking her and undervaluing her, whether you have a mother-in-law who's just really difficult, or a family member who's really selfish, like in that moment, you can just think about, what is the outcome that I want? And then who do I want to be? Like, what are just 3 words that describe who I want to be? And then, maybe when we're done doing this live together, like maybe find a picture on your phone that like really embodies, those 3 words of who you want to be. And, when you like, there's so many things in those situations we can't control. So that's going to immediately put us into, let me do something I can control, like, hand to mouth, like totally, I get it, but the thing is like, the moment you start showing up as who you intend to be in that situation has come back on your terms.
Yes.
And when you are in your power, you shift the power dynamic like that.
Yes. And it can be that quick. I love that. It can be that quick. Just get like right here, right now. Who am I? Who am I showing up as? Strong, confident, clear, right? Effective, articulate. I'm coming up with all kinds of stuff. I love this. Yeah, this is so good. So what are some things you hear? I mean, you work with so many women in the corporate arena, and I have a lot of women in corporate here, and I mean, corporate is just a word, but women who work for corporations, big companies. What are some of the most common gripes you hear and things that people are struggling with?
Yes. How long do we have? We're, commonly known as working while female, right? So, feeling unseen, feeling unheard, marginalized, excluded, interrupted. I mean, the list is long, but I'll just start with maybe feeling unseen and feeling unheard. And we know that many people are feeling this, broadly speaking, in the workplace and in their professional life, maybe in their personal life as well, these days. And it can really cause you to take it personally and to react. And then again, set up that kind of emotional eating pattern. And here's where it's just the next step that you can take once you've kind of set that intention. Now, that intention, I call that your horizon point. Your horizon point, because it's just a visual. It's kind of like an anchor point. Like, you're looking like, that's who I intend to be. That's who I want to be in this situation. And the thing is that once you're really clear on how you want to be seen, that's the first step to getting other people to see you the way that you want to be seen, right? Like a decision maker or a manager or a sabotaging colleague. So this is something, a way that you can use this idea of your horizon point. I'll just tell you a story. So I had a women's leadership development program. There was a woman who's in the program who had been passed over twice for promotion in 18 months. Okay. And she, when she first came into the program, she really wasn't clear, like what really were they looking for from her? Now, this is common because there's all matter of gender bias. Women get vague feedback. Women are not told the pathways that they can take, to the highest ranks. Women are evaluated in terms of their past accomplishments and aren't seen for their future potential. So you can ask me about any of that. You can overcome all of these things. But so she was getting caught in all of this. And so she, we did this exercise of who she wanted to be. And she got really clear. In order to get promoted, she needed to be seen as a strategic influencer. So that was her phrase. And before she went into any meeting, she'd be like, what would a strategic influencer do? So, she learned all the effective ways of getting people to buy into her ideas. She learned to make her language congruent with who she wanted to be. So she would no longer say things like, okay, well, my update is like boring. She would instead say, my strategic recommendation is, and then she cleared things off her plate and delegated and started bringing big picture ideas. And 3 months later, her manager calls a meeting with her and says, I've been noticing, and so has everyone else. You've been much more strategic, much more influential. And I just wanted to let you know this morning I put in for your promotion.
That is a super cool story.
There is. So, we can tend to feel powerless, right? That there's nothing that we can do. Yeah. And when we feel like there's nothing that we can do in a situation, we leak our power.
Yeah. And we live in the kind of victim mentality, which is a total energy suck.
There's so much more that you can control. So this is a good example where she set that horizon point and she loved it. She was like, yes, that's who I want to be. She was already, kind of like a senior to mid-level person and was kind of stuck getting into those higher ranks. And so, she took back control, right? She plugged those leaks. And then she got the outcome that she wanted. And then, something, she diversified the team and she made the culture better on the team, because when a woman is in her power, she raises everyone around her.
Yes, I love that. That is an awesome story, Sharon. So cool. I want another one. This is fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. Well, I mean, it's fun to overcome, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And
I mean, that is so interesting that you can change your language and change people's perception by doing so, right? Your language and your energy, because when you set the intention, you are changing your energy. But seriously, that is a super cool thing. And I love how you're showing that you can actually, you have more power than you realize. And people don't know it, and it's subtle, right? It's super, like walking in, beating your chest. It's subtle.
You're strategic.
Yes.
Yes, it's so true. And what you were just saying, the way that I think about that is that if you're listening and watching right now, you might be overlooking the power you already have, and it's time to own it. From overlooking it to owning it.
Okay. Can you talk more about that?
Yes. So, you know, of course, in my book, In Your Power, right. You know, the whole first half of the book is all these ways that you can kind of get back in your power or stay in your power. And then the whole second half of the book is how you use your power for the good of all. So let me rock your world with this one.
Okay.
So I coached a woman who was a managing partner in an engineering firm, very male dominated, might be familiar to some of you. And so she had been going to the owners of the firm for like 2 years and saying, we need to make the culture better. People are leaving. And also the highest revenue producers in the firm were women. So for like a long time, she'd been going to the owners. Okay, so they were 2 older guys and, you know, been asking for this. And she got what was kind of the equivalent of a pat on the head. Have any of us been there? Okay, I mean, it wasn't literal, but like she felt, you know, so she had to stay in her power. So, you know, we learned to make sure she didn't take it personally, right? She didn't get emotionally hijacked by that. But, you know, when we first started, she was like, well, I don't have any power. I asked them, I got a no. I mean, what am I going to do? Right. So we worked together for 3 months and she starts to realize the power that she has. She has all of this relationship power. She has all of this ability to persuade people strategically that she hadn't been realizing. 3.5 months later, the owners of the firm agree to reduce their share by 30% so they could redistribute the earnings to the highest women revenue producer engineers. Yes.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
More power than you think. And then they were so like impressed by like how, you know, her ability to mobilize and to be a leader that they made her CEO of the company.
What a story. That's incredible. But I love that. It's just like, you know, the money's there. I mean, that's a great prosperity demonstration, right? It's like, it's there. It's right in front of us. We just can't see the possibilities, but it doesn't mean they don't exist, right? It doesn't mean they're not there and it isn't possible. So beautiful.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we just need to plug in. And I think it's so relevant to the work that you're doing because, you know, when we're emotional eating and, you know, I'll just confess to you. So I emotionally ate my way through writing this book because, you know, you're sitting, it's like one of the worst things you can do to me is just sit me in front of a blank page. And I'm like a super, you know, healthy eater. And just because I have all these like food sensitivity kinds of things. So I would eat these things that are like all gluten-free, like completely tasteless, like cardboard. So like practically no you know, but just because I needed something to like, you know what I mean? And they were so tasteless. I'll tell you that like, even the dog was like, oh, I'm not going anywhere. That has no appeal to me like at all. The dog was like, yeah, you can drop those on the floor all day long. Like, no, thank you. But sometimes I just needed it to, you know, get started like with the writing. And then once I was into it, I was in the flow, you know, everything was like, okay. So it was like kind of funny. I thought of you. When I'm done with the book, I have to, you know, get back to like really, you know, healthy. And so now it's been better. So now what was I even talking about now? That I think we were talking about having more power than you think. What else was I saying?
I'm trying to think. You just
the connection to emotional eating. That's right.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about that. Is that, you know, there is a source. And when we're emotional eating, that's why I was talking about that. We're disconnected from that source.
Amen, sister.
Whether that source is within you, whether that is a source with a capital S, you know, wherever you attribute it to. But I thought what you said was so important that, and there's that, you know, Albert Einstein quote that, you know, imagination really is like our superpower, you know, and it's like the power that we have, like we can make any situation that we're stuck in, we can make it into these situations. Look at how these women like just made it better for themselves and for everyone. And you can do that in your personal life, and you can do that in your friendships, and you can do that at work. And it's just it comes from you starting to kind of take back that power.
I love that. Let's, before we wrap up, let's talk about sisterhood.
Oh, I love that you asked about this because I think we hunger for sisterhood.
Amen. All my programs are done in groups because and they're women. I work with women primarily because the sisterhood at Heal Your Hunger is so powerful and it feeds us at a deeper
Totally
level.
does. And I think that we have to really notice if we're judging one another and keeping one another small, because then we are just perpetuating the patriarchy, my friends, right? And so we have to really start to realize where we have internalized, all of these too much and not enoughs, and we put those things on one another as much as we put them on ourselves. And the reflection that you can get from your sisters, I think is, your sisters sometimes can hold a vision for you that's even bigger than you can hold in your body in the moment for yourself. So borrow that, and let's be that for one another. And, the way I think about it, there's that saying like friends don't let friends, drive drunk. There's that thing. I think it needs to be like, friends don't let friends stay out of their power.
Amen.
And so, because the thing is that we go to one another to commiserate. It's like, oh, I was disrespected and microaggressed again. And like, we need to have that place because it's so disrespectful and we understandably, have an emotional response. So we need to have the safety and the love and the empathy of our sisters. But I would say, let's have that initial reaction until you feel totally loved and given to and like held in it. And then as soon as that moment comes, let's not allow each other to stay there. And let's be like, okay, girlfriend, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, who do you want to be? And what's the outcome that you want in this situation? And go read that book, In Your Power, and let's read it together in our squad and in our posse and hold one another, because that's how we're going to tip this thing, right?
Yes, I love that, Sharon. And I love that because it's easy to just dump. It's easy to dump to your girlfriends and to play the victim. And it feels so good. Fine, do it for 5 minutes, like rant and rave about
totally get it out.
Yeah, like how it's not fair. But yes, but then let's take it to action. Like, what can we do? How can we turn this situation around? How can we reframe it? How can we get our power back? And that is what sisters are for. And I think that's it's harder to do that because we want to stay a victim sometimes and be pissed off. But I think it's of a better service to our girlfriends when we, ask those questions. We say those questions again. They were so good.
Yeah. The questions. So, what you can ask yourself when you notice that you're out of your power is, so what's the outcome that you want in this situation?
What's the outcome?
To set the destination. And then who do you need to show up as?
Okay.
In the service of that. And it's just a way to get started, right? It's a way to shift the energy. It's a way to show up in your power. So you shift the power dynamic. And then, from there, once you're in a good place, that's when you can pull your power move, which, we had some examples of, and, you can find a whole suite of, in the book, In Your Power.
I love it. Oh, well, Sharon, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I think this is actionable stuff, and obviously if you guys want to take better action, even than just listening, although we're really appreciative of you being here listening, you can pick up Sharon's book, and it's on pre-order right now. It's coming out within days. And once you hear this, if you're listening to the podcast, it may already be out. So definitely check it out.
Can I give you a good link for people to go to? Because if you go to this place, actually, I'm going to give you kind of a special gift as well, where I'm going to do a quick start. I'm going to do a quick start workshop where you're going to get a chance to go in deep with some of these tools, and I'll give you some scripts for how to deal with people who are disrespecting you. So just head on over to www.inyourpowerbook.com com in your power book. And when you make your pre-order and just let us know about it, that's when we're going to be able to be on the Quick Start workshop together, and the other ways that you'll get your scripts and go deeper.
I love that. And I just put that in the secret sauce group. So people who are tuning in right now can go there and click that. So that's a beautiful page. There's some great information just even right there. So thanks for providing those goodies. I appreciate it. You guys check out this book. It's so good. We need it. We need to be in our power, and it's not just our power, it's our spiritual power, our divine power. I mean, that's working through us when we say yes and when we stop shrinking. So thank you so much, Sharon, for being here. It's been so much fun. This has been Dr. Sharon Melnick, and she is a champion for women standing in their power. So it's been great to have you. I have one final question before we sign off, and that is, what is your deepest hunger? I asked all my guests this, so I'm not just putting you on the spot. I put everybody on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. My deepest hunger is for us to lock arms together in sisterhood, and to raise the consciousness so that every woman feels seen and heard and can make the impact that she is here for. And for me to feel like I'm really making the contribution that I've been put here to make, along with you, toward that.
Amen.
Because when a woman is in her power, she raises everyone around her.
Amen. I love it. Thanks so much for being with us, Sharon. You are amazing. And thank you for all you're doing to help everybody, take that next step into their power. So blessings to you. Thank you.
What a delight, Tricia. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Please comment and tell us about your experiences. We'd love to hear about it, and we love to raise you up. So thank you for being here, watching live or later, listening in our podcast. We love you so much.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.